Welcome to the Sleepy City Traveller's Channel. Tonight, we journey to a city built on ancient stones, where rivers flow hidden beneath the streets, where fog once turned day into twilight, where history lives in every corner. Close your eyes, let your breathing deepen and drift with us as we explore 100 sleepy facts about London, about its Roman foundations, about its secret waters, about its towers and monuments and mysteries. Let yourself sink deeper into comfort and begin this slow, peaceful journey through time. London. The name itself carries weight, carries history, carries the accumulated stories of 2,000 years. But London was not always London. Once, long ago, it was something else, something smaller, something Roman. London was founded by the Romans almost 2,000 years ago, around 43 AD. 43. Count backward from now, through the centuries, through empires rising and falling, through the birth and death of languages, through so much history that the mind can barely hold it. The Romans came to Britain, invaded, conquered, and they built. They always built roads, walls, cities, and on the banks of a wide, shallow river, they built Londinium. Londinium. Say it slowly. Let the syllables roll. Londinium. This was London's first name, its Roman name, a military settlement, a trading post, a bridge between the conquered island and the empire across the sea. The Romans chose this spot carefully, where the river was narrow enough to bridge, where the land was firm enough to build, where ships could sail in from the ocean, where roads could radiate outward. Geography created London. The river created London. The Romans simply recognized what the land was offering. The original city was much smaller than today, so much smaller, roughly the size of Hyde Park. Imagine that. All of Roman London, all of Londinium, fitting into one modern park, a handful of streets, a few thousand people, wooden buildings clustered near the river, market stalls, temples, bathhouses, all the infrastructure of Roman civilization, compressed into a space you could walk across in 15 minutes. This was the seed, the beginning. Everything that came after, every street and building and monument, grew from this small Roman settlement by the water. To protect the settlement, to keep it safe from raiders and rebels, the Romans built a massive stone wall. Massive, solid, permanent. This wall was 20 feet high in places, 6 feet thick, built of Kentish ragstone, a hard greenish-grey limestone, thousands of blocks. Each one cut, each one hauled, each one fitted into place. The wall enclosed Londinium, created a boundary, separated inside from outside, civilization from wilderness, safety from danger. And here is something remarkable, something that makes history tangible, real, present. Fragments of this wall still stand, right now, in the middle of the modern city, hidden between office buildings, tucked behind parking lots, surviving in churchyards. You can walk London's streets, turn a corner, and suddenly there it is. Roman stone, nearly 2,000 years old, weathered, worn, but standing, still doing its job of marking boundaries, still silently proclaiming, Rome was here. Rome built this. Rome endures. Touch these stones if you ever visit. Press your palm against the rough surface. Feel the coolness. Feel the solidity. And know that Roman hands shaped these blocks. Roman engineers planned this wall. Roman soldiers guarded it. Your hand on the same stone their hands touched. 2,000 years collapsing, time becoming thin, past and present meeting in stone. The River Thames is the heart of London. Always has been, always will be. The city exists because of this river. Grew along this river, spread beside it, crossed it, traded on it, lived from it. But the Thames has changed. It used to be much wider, much shallower. Picture it. Not the relatively narrow, deep channel you see today, but a broader, spreading waterway, with marshy edges, with reeds growing thick, with mud flats exposed at low tide. A different river, a wilder river, a river that made soft sounds, the water moving through reeds, lapping gently against mud, the edges muffling the sound of the tide. A quiet river, a peaceful river, and beneath the pavement, beneath the concrete and asphalt and cobblestones of modern London, there are secrets. Water secrets. Over 20 lost rivers flow through the city, rivers with names: the Fleet, the Tyburn, the Walbrook, the Effra, rivers that once ran open, visible, crossed by bridges, lined with buildings. But as London grew, as the city expanded, these rivers became inconvenient, became obstacles, became places where waste collected, so they were covered, buried, enclosed in brick tunnels, forced underground. But they still flow, right now, beneath your feet if you're in London, beneath the streets, beneath the buildings, through Victorian brick tunnels and modern concrete pipes. Silent water, hidden water, secret water. These lost rivers create a second city, an underground city of flowing water, of darkness and echoes, of channels carved through London clay. Most Londoners walk above them every day, never thinking about the water beneath, never hearing its flow. But it's there, patient, eternal, waiting. The Thames is a tidal river. This is important, crucial. It means the river is connected to the sea, connected to the ocean. The tide, that ancient rhythm driven by the moon, reaches all the way up the Thames. Twice a day the water rises, pushed inland by the tide coming in, and twice a day it falls, pulled back toward the sea as the tide goes out. The river breathes, in and out, rising and falling by up to 23 feet. 23 feet. Imagine that change, that transformation. Twice, daily. The river swelling, then shrinking, exposing muddy banks, then covering them again. Eternal rhythm, lunar rhythm. The moon pulling water, the river obeying. London Bridge. Perhaps the most famous bridge name in the world. But how many London bridges have there been? Many. The current one is modern, unremarkable. But for over 1,700 years, London Bridge was the only bridge across the Thames. The only one. Think about what that means. One crossing point. One way across. Everything funneled to this single bridge. All the trade, all the traffic, all the people. The bridge became more than infrastructure, became a symbol, became essential. Without the bridge, London would have been two separate cities, north and south, connected only by boat. But with the bridge, with this single span, London could be whole. In the medieval era, London Bridge was something extraordinary, something we can barely imagine now. It was a living street, not just a bridge to cross, but a place to live, to work, to shop. Houses crowded the bridge. Shops hung over the edge. Buildings rose 4, 5, 6 stories, leaning over the dark water below. So many buildings that you could cross the entire bridge and barely see the river. Could walk from one side to the other and think you were on a street, not suspended over water, not balanced on arches, just walking, shopping, Living, the bridge groaned under the weight, swayed in strong wind, but held, for centuries, a street that happened to be a bridge that happened to be a neighborhood, the Tower of London, this fortress, this palace, this prison, this execution ground, this tourist attraction, was built by William the Conqueror in the 1070s. William, the Norman king, the invader who conquered England, who claimed the throne, who needed to control London, to dominate London, to make London understand that resistance was futile. So he built this tower, this massive stone fortress, right beside the river, where everyone arriving by ship would see it, where it would loom over the city, a symbol of power, a declaration, a warning. I am here. I am strong. I will remain. The tower is guarded by ravens, large black birds, intelligent birds. 6 ravens are kept at the tower at all times. This is not decoration, not quaintness, but necessity. Because legend insists that if the ravens ever leave, the kingdom will fall, the tower will crumble, Britain will end. So the ravens are protected, fed, cared for. Their wings are carefully trimmed so they cannot fly far. Insurance against prophecy, against doom, against the fall of kingdoms. These ravens hop across the tower's green, call into the London air, and keep the kingdom standing through their presence. The beefeaters guard the tower. This is their nickname. Their official title is Yeoman Warders. They wear Tudor uniforms, red and gold, magnificent, ceremonial. But they're not just for show. These are real guards, real soldiers, veterans of the British Armed Forces. They've served for over 500 years, 5 centuries of beefeaters, guarding the tower, living in the tower with their families, conducting tours, telling stories, keeping tradition alive. And every single night without fail, they perform the ceremony of the keys. This ceremony is the oldest military pageant in the world, older than any other, still performed exactly as it was centuries ago, at 9:53 p.m. precisely. Not 9:50, not 9:55, 9:53. The chief warder, carrying the Queen's keys, locks the tower's gates, challenged by a sentry, answering the challenge, locking the final gate. The ceremony takes place in total darkness, in silence except for the scripted words, ancient words, ritual words, words said every night for over 700 years. This is continuity. This is tradition. This is the past performed in the present. London's streets were once lit by oil lamps. Before electricity, before gas, before even bright candles. Just oil lamps, burning whale oil or vegetable oil, producing a dim, smoky light. Not enough to truly illuminate, just enough to create pools of yellow glow, to mark corners, to suggest presence. The rest was darkness, deep darkness, the kind of darkness we've forgotten in our lit cities, the kind where you couldn't see your hand before your face, where the space between lamps was pure shadow. And in this darkness, especially in winter, the fog would come. Thick fog, dense fog, fog that turned the city into another world. This fog was called a pea souper because of its yellow-green color, its thickness, its opacity. But this wasn't just water vapor, wasn't just mist. This was a mix of natural fog and coal smoke. London burned coal, millions of coal fires, heating homes, powering industry, and the smoke mixed with fog created something toxic, something thick enough to taste, thick enough to feel on your skin. The city would disappear, buildings vanishing 10 feet away, People lost in familiar streets, the world reduced to grey, to quiet, to isolation, a labyrinth of grey, where sound was muffled, where light couldn't penetrate, where London became a ghost of itself. Then came 1666, the year that changed London forever. The Great Fire. It started in a bakery on Pudding Lane, a small fire, easily controlled under normal circumstances. But the summer had been dry. The buildings were wooden, crowded together, touching, and the wind was blowing. The fire spread, jumped from building to building, raced down streets, consumed neighborhoods, burned for 4 days. 4 days of flames, of smoke, of heat so intense it melted church bells, turned stone to powder, created firestorms. When the fire finally burned out, when the rain came and the wind died, most of the wooden city was gone, destroyed, reduced to ash and charred timbers. 85% of the city of London burned. 13,000 houses, 87 churches. The old, medieval London, the London of narrow lanes and overhanging buildings, gone. But from this destruction came rebirth, came transformation, the city rebuilt. And this time in stone, in brick, creating the London we recognize today. The fire destroyed the past, but created the future. The monument to the Great Fire stands in the city, a tall column, fluted, in the Doric style, simple, powerful. It stands exactly 202 feet tall. Why 202 feet? Because that's exactly how far it is from this spot to Pudding Lane, to where the fire started. The monument is positioned, measured, precise. A memorial that's also a measurement. That's also a claim. We remember, we measure, we mark, we endure. Inside the monument is a winding stone staircase, 311 steps, spiraling upward through the center of the column. Dark, narrow, climbing, step after step after step. Your legs burning, your breath coming harder, but pushing upward, toward light, toward height, toward the platform at the top. From there, from that height, you can see the city's skyline. See how London spread from this point. See the buildings rising. See the pattern of streets. See what emerged from the ashes. After the fire, the task of rebuilding fell largely to one man, Sir Christopher Wren, an architect, a scientist, a genius. He was tasked with rebuilding 51 churches. 51, each one destroyed in the fire, each one needing to rise again. Wren worked for decades, designing, planning, building, creating a new sacred landscape for London. Spires rising across the city, bells ringing from new towers, and among all these churches, one stands supreme. St. Paul's Cathedral. St. Paul's Cathedral, Wren's masterpiece, his life's work. This cathedral took 35 years to build. 35 years of Wren's life, from 43 years old to 78. His prime, his peak, his legacy. The cathedral is massive, beautiful, dominated by its great dome. That dome, that perfect hemisphere rising above London, became the symbol of the city. During World War II, during the Blitz, when German bombs fell every night, when London burned again, St. Paul's survived, stood firm, became a symbol of resistance, of endurance, of refusing to fall. Inside the dome is the Whispering Gallery, a circular gallery running around the inside of the dome. The acoustics here are perfect, magical. The walls curve precisely, creating a phenomenon. If you stand on one side of the gallery and whisper against the wall, someone on the opposite side, 100 feet away, can hear you perfectly, the whisper travels along the curved wall, amplified, preserved, arriving clear, distinct, as if the person were standing right beside you. This is architecture becoming magic, stone creating miracles, space shaping sound in impossible ways. London's oldest outdoor monument isn't British, isn't even European. It's Cleopatra's Needle, an ancient Egyptian obelisk from 1450 BC, over 3,400 years old, older than London by 3,000 years, older than Rome, older than almost anything still standing, carved from pink granite, covered in hieroglyphics, telling the story of pharaohs, of Egypt's glory, of a civilization that flourished and faded while Britain was still populated by people who left no written records. This obelisk stood in Egypt, in Heliopolis, for millennia, and then, in the 19th century, it was given to Britain, transported, a journey of thousands of miles, by ship, through storms, through danger, almost lost, but arriving, erected on the Thames embankment, utterly out of place, utterly magnificent, Egyptian stone under English sky, ancient artifact in modern city, connection across time and space. The obelisk is flanked by two bronze sphinxes, Egyptian guardian creatures, with human faces and lion bodies. These sphinxes were cast in the 19th century, not ancient, but intended to complement the obelisk, to provide context, to create appropriate setting. They bear scars, small damage, pockmarks in the bronze, from shrapnel, from a World War I air raid. A bomb fell nearby. Fragments struck the sphinxes, left marks, the ancient and modern, both scarred by war, both bearing witness to violence. There is a secret time capsule buried beneath the needle, placed there when the obelisk was erected, sealed underground, containing 19th century newspapers, coins, photographs, a Bible, a railway guide, portraits of 12 beautiful women of the day, items chosen to represent Victorian Britain, to speak to future generations, to say, this is who we were, this is what mattered to us, still there, still sealed, still waiting for someone to excavate, to open, to discover what Victorians wanted remembered, the London Stone, a mysterious block of limestone, set now behind iron bars, behind glass, protected. This stone has been kept in the city for centuries, mentioned in documents from the medieval period, maybe older, maybe much older, but no one knows its true origin. No one knows what it is, why it's there, what it represents. Some believe it was the point from which the Romans measured all distances in Britain, the millennium, the milestone zero, the center of everything. From this stone, all roads were measured, all journeys calculated, all distances determined. Others say it's older than Rome, prehistoric, sacred, magical, that it was a druidic altar, or a coronation stone, or a marker of ancient boundaries. The truth is lost, hidden in centuries of fog, but the stone remains, survives, protected by iron and glass and civic pride. London refuses to lose it, refuses to forget. Even when memory fails, the stone itself is memory, is continuity, is connection to origins we can no longer name. As night falls over London, as the sun sets and darkness comes, the Thames becomes a dark mirror. The water stills slightly, the ripples settle, and the river begins to reflect. Yellow glow from street lamps, orange from buildings, white from bridges, all doubled in the water, all multiplied, the real city and its reflection, solid and liquid, stone and water, light and darkness, The bridges span the river. Their reflections span the water beneath, creating perfect symmetry, perfect doubling. Walk beside the Thames at night. Look at the water and see two Londons, the city above, the city below, both real, both beautiful, both eternal. The tidal water moves slowly, dark, deep, carrying secrets, carrying history. This river has flowed for millions of years, long before humans, long before cities. It will flow for millions more, long after we're gone, long after London crumbles. The river doesn't care, doesn't hurry, just flows, from source to sea, pulling lunar tides inland, pushing them back out, breathing, always breathing. Beneath the streets, the lost rivers flow, the Fleet, the Tyburn, the Walbrook, hidden, forgotten by most, but flowing, always flowing, through Victorian brick, through darkness, through silence. These waters remember when they ran free, when they reflected sky, when fish swam in them, when people crossed them on small bridges, when they were named, when they were known. Now they're secret, underground, but still present, still part of London, still shaping the land, still carving their channels through clay. The Roman wall stands in fragments, Kentish ragstone enduring, marking where Londinium ended, where the city began, 2,000 years, and still standing, still solid, still doing its job. The wall has outlived empires, has outlived languages, has outlived the people who built it by 60 generations. But it stands, witness to everything, silent guardian of memory. The tower looms beside the river, White Tower in the center, ancient, Norman, solid. The ravens hop across the grass, black against green, eternal guardians. The beefeaters. You walk their rounds, red and gold in lamplight. The ceremony will happen tonight at 9:53, as it always does, as it has for centuries, as it will for centuries more. Time becomes ritual, ritual becomes time. St. Paul's dome glows in the darkness, floodlit, magnificent, visible from across the city, a beacon, a landmark, a statement that beauty survives, that destruction is not final, that from ashes rise cathedrals. The whispering gallery waits in silence, ready to carry whispers, to share secrets, to prove that walls can speak. And somewhere in the city, behind glass, behind bars, the London stone rests, mysterious, unknown, unknowable, but present, but protected, but honored. A stone that might be nothing, or might be everything. Might be the center of Roman Britain, or might be a random block that chance preserved. The uncertainty doesn't matter. The stone matters. Its survival matters. Its connection to the past, however undefined, matters. London sleeps, but not completely. Never completely. This is a city that never fully rests. The Thames keeps flowing, the lost rivers keep moving, the stones keep standing, the memories keep accumulating, layer upon layer upon layer. Roman on Celtic, Saxon on Roman, Norman on Saxon, medieval on Norman, Tudor on medieval, Victorian on Tudor, modern on Victorian. Each layer preserved, each layer visible, each layer part of the story. This is London's gift, its character, its soul, the refusal to erase, the insistence on keeping, on preserving, on honoring what came before, even when what came before is mysterious, is half forgotten, is barely understood. London keeps it, guards it, protects it, says, this is ours. This is who we are. This is how we got here, and we will not forget. And so we rest here, at the end of this first journey, having walked Roman streets, having touched ancient stone, having discovered lost rivers, having climbed the monument, having listened for whispers in the dome, having stood before the obelisk, having honoured the mysterious stone. This is London's foundation, its bedrock, its beginning. From here, from these Roman stones and hidden waters, everything else grew. Everything else emerged. The city rose from the Thames, was built on clay, was enclosed by walls, was measured from a stone, and endured through fire, through plague, through war, through everything, and still stands, still flows, still whispers across curved walls. We continue forward, deeper into London's story. But for now, rest with these images. The dark Thames reflecting light, the walls standing silent, the ravens watching, the rivers flowing beneath. Let London's ancient foundations cradle you. Let its waters soothe you. Let its stones support you. Rest in the knowledge that some things endure, that walls can stand 2,000 years, that rivers flow forever, that cities built on solid foundations, on Roman stone and Thames water, on history and memory, cannot fall, can only grow, can only deepen, can only become more themselves with each passing century. Now we move from ancient foundations to royal grandeur, from Roman walls to palace gates, from the city's beginning to its flourishing, to when London became not just a city, but a capital, not just a settlement, but the heart of an empire. When kings and queens walked its streets, when power resided in its palaces, when intellect gathered in its clubs and museums. This is London in its majesty, in its dignity, in its quiet, assured power. Buckingham Palace. The very name conjures images of guards in red tunics, of golden gates, of ceremony and tradition. This palace, this massive building, has 775 rooms. 775. Try to imagine. Rooms for state occasions, rooms for living, rooms for working, rooms for storing, rooms for guests, rooms for servants, rooms upon rooms upon rooms. You could spend days exploring and not see everything, could live there and never visit every space. A palace that's not just a building, but a small city, a world unto itself. And beneath these rooms, beneath the grand halls and throne rooms and ballrooms, runs a secret, a network, a tunnel system that connects to nearby streets, secret passages, underground corridors, allowing movement unseen, allowing escape if needed, allowing the palace to breathe, to connect, to remain linked to the city even while seeming separate. These tunnels are not for tourists, not for display, but functional, practical, a reminder that even palaces need hidden ways, need secrets, need connections that don't announce themselves. Look up at the palace, at the flagpole. The flag tells you something, reveals information. When the king is at home, when he's in residence, the royal standard flies, the royal coat of arms, personal, specific, a flag that belongs to the monarch. But when he's away, when the palace is empty of royalty, it's the Union Jack, the national flag, the flag of the country. The flag switches, changes, tells anyone watching, yes, he's here. No, he's gone. A simple system, a clear signal. The palace communicating through fabric and wind. The changing of the guard. If you've seen it, you understand. If you haven't, imagine this. Soldiers in red tunics, bright scarlet, impossible to miss, and bearskin hats, tall, black, made from the fur of Canadian black bears. These hats add height, add presence, add ceremonial weight. The guards march, moving in perfect, hushed unison. Every step synchronized, every movement precise. No talking, no breaking formation, just the sound of boots on pavement. The rhythmic march, the discipline made visible, made beautiful. This is not just changing shifts, this is performance. This is tradition, this is Britain saying, we do things properly, we do things with dignity. We honor the old ways even as the world changes around us. Westminster Abbey, this church, this ancient building, has been the coronation church for every British monarch since 1066, since William the Conqueror, since the Normans took the throne. Nearly 1,000 years of crownings, of kings and queens standing on the same stones, speaking the same vows, receiving the same crown. The Abbey has witnessed them all, has heard every oath, has seen every monarch transform from person to sovereign, from mortal to symbol. The walls remember, the stones remember. History so thick, you can feel it in the air. The Abbey is what's called a royal peculiar, strange term, but specific. It means the Abbey belongs directly to the monarch, not to the Church of England, not to any bishop or archbishop, but to the crown itself. The monarch's private chapel, royal property. This gives the Abbey special status, special independence. It answers to no one but royalty. A church that exists outside the normal hierarchy. Peculiar, unique, belonging only to the throne. Inside the Abbey sits the coronation chair, made of oak in 1300, over 700 years old. Every monarch since has sat in this chair, has been crowned while sitting here. The chair itself is a witness, a participant, a piece of living history. But look closely, look at the wood, and you'll see something unexpected, something undignified. Graffiti, carved into the oak. Names, initials, dates, carved by schoolboys, by Westminster School students who once attended services here, who sat near the chair, who couldn't resist, who carved their names, their marks, their proof of existence, the sacred and the mundane, the royal and the childish, all mixed together in carved oak. Big Ben. Everyone knows Big Ben. The tower, the clock, the symbol of London, of Britain, of punctuality and tradition. But here's the thing. Big Ben is actually the name of the 13-ton bell inside the tower. Not the tower itself. The tower is called Elizabeth Tower, named after Queen Elizabeth II. But nobody calls it that. Everyone says, Big Ben. The bell's name has consumed the tower, has become the name of everything. The bell weighs 13 tons. Imagine that weight, that mass of metal, hanging in the tower, struck by a hammer, ringing out across London, the sound carrying, marking the hours, telling the city what time it is, has been telling the city for over 160 years. A voice, a presence, a heartbeat of London itself. The clock faces are enormous, 23 feet in diameter, made of glass, of metal, of precision engineering. And they need cleaning. Periodically, regularly. Dust accumulates, weather marks them, pollution stains. So a team of abseilers descends, climbing specialists, roped, harnessed. They descend on ropes from above, moving silently across the glass, cleaning, polishing, restoring clarity, hanging hundreds of feet above the ground, above the Thames, above the city. Just them and the glass and the wind, trusting their equipment, trusting their skill, making Big Ben beautiful again. Look at the top of the clock tower, at the very apex. There's a light, the Ayrton light. Small, unobtrusive, but significant. This light is lit whenever Parliament is in session after dark, whenever MPs are working late, debating, voting, governing. The light says, democracy is happening. The people's representatives are at work, even in darkness, even late at night. The light burning. A signal, a statement, transparency, accountability. The light says, look, see, we're here, we're working, we're doing the people's business. The Houses of Parliament themselves are magnificent. Gothic revival architecture, all pointed arches, all intricate stonework, all towers and spires and decorated surfaces. But here's a secret. They're not that old, not medieval, not ancient, built in the mid-1800s, after the old palace burned. Designed by Charles Barry and Augustus Pugin. Designed to look much older than they actually are. Designed to evoke the medieval. To suggest continuity with the past. To claim legitimacy through architectural. In reference, the buildings are Victorian, but they wear medieval clothing, dress in Gothic costume, and do it so convincingly that most people assume they're ancient, that they've always stood here, that they emerged from the Middle Ages rather than from the 1840s. St. James's Park, a royal park, green space in the heart of the city, lakes, trees, paths winding, people strolling. But here's something unexpected, something delightful. The park is home to a colony of pelicans. Pelicans, these large water birds, native to warmer climates, not Britain, not London. How did they get here? They were a gift from a Russian ambassador in 1664, over 350 years ago. And the pelicans stayed, bred, survived. Generations of pelicans living in London, making this northern city home. You can see them near the lake, large, ungainly on land, graceful on water, a living connection to diplomatic gift-giving, to strangeness becoming tradition, to the unexpected becoming normal, the Mall, the grand road leading to Buckingham Palace, wide, tree-lined, processional. This road is used for ceremonies, for state occasions, for royal weddings and funerals, for moments of national significance. And the road surface, the road itself, is painted red, not paved red, not made of red stone. Painted, deliberately, regularly repainted to maintain the color. Why? To give the effect of a giant red carpet, to make every procession feel special, to make every journey down this road feel like walking on ceremony, on tradition, on royal red. The entire road a carpet, a welcome, a statement of importance. Mayfair, one of London's most exclusive districts, one of the quietest, one of the most expensive. The streets here are calmer, less traffic, more trees, more space. The buildings are elegant, restrained, Georgian and Victorian architecture, wealth expressed through understatement rather than ostentation. Mayfair is named after a Mayfair that took place here in the 1600s, a spring festival, temporary, rowdy probably, long since ended, but the name stuck. The fair is gone, the name remains. The neighborhood transformed from fairground to aristocratic enclave, from temporary celebration to permanent wealth. In Pall Mall, another elegant street, stand London's famous gentlemen's clubs. These are not clubs in the modern sense, not nightclubs, not social clubs, but institutions, establishments, places where men of certain classes gathered, still gather, for conversation, for reading, for quiet. The clubs have names: the Reform Club, the Athenaeum, the Travellers Club, Carlton Club, each with its own character, its own membership, its own traditions. Inside these clubs are hushed libraries, rooms lined with books, deep leather armchairs, worn smooth by generations of sitters, newspapers on wooden holders, portraits on walls, an atmosphere of quiet contemplation, of gentle conversation, of tradition so deep it's become invisible, just the way things are, the way they've always been, the way they'll always be. The Reform Club holds a special place in literary history. It was the starting point for Phileas Fogg's journey. In Jules Verne's Around the World in 80 Days, Fogg makes his famous wager here, in this club, standing in these rooms, the fictional journey beginning in actual location. Verne chose the Reform Club carefully, chose it for its associations, its respectability, its position in society, and now the club is forever linked to this fictional journey, this impossible bet, this adventure that captured imaginations worldwide. Regent Street, this shopping street, this curve of elegant buildings, was the first purpose-built shopping street in the world, the first designed specifically for commerce, for retail, for display, for purchasing. Before this, shops were mixed in with residences, with workshops, with everything else. But Regent Street said, no, this street is for shopping, for business, for the exchange of goods and money, and it was designed with an elegant, sweeping curve. Not a straight line, but a gentle arc. This curve creates drama, creates reveal. As you walk, new buildings come into view, new shops, new possibilities. The curve makes the street feel longer, feel grander, feel like an experience rather than just a route. The Royal Albert Hall, named after Prince Albert, Queen Victoria's beloved husband. This building is distinctive, unusual, a giant red brick circle inspired by Roman amphitheaters, by the Colosseum, by ancient places of gathering and performance, topped with a dome of glass and iron, massive, capable of holding thousands. This is where the BBC proms happen, where concerts echo, where music fills the circular space, where sound bounces off walls and rises to the dome and returns transformed. But the acoustics were a problem. Originally, the circular shape created echoes, multiple echoes, sound bouncing, repeating, making music muddy, making clear performance impossible. So engineers had to intervene, had to find solutions. Inside, suspended from the ceiling, are mushrooms. Not real mushrooms, but fiberglass discs, shaped like mushrooms, hundreds of them hanging. These absorb sound, break up echoes, prevent the bouncing, the repetition, make the acoustics work, make the hall functional. An elegant problem requiring an elegant solution. Now the music soars. Now orchestras can perform. Now the hall fulfills its purpose. The mushrooms invisible from below, doing their work silently, perfectly. The Natural History Museum. This building is known as a cathedral to nature, and rightly so. Built with terracotta tiles, thousands of them, each one decorated, featuring carvings of animals and plants, lions, monkeys, fish, flowers, leaves, seeds. The entire building is a celebration of natural diversity, of life's variety, of creation's abundance. Walk around the exterior, look up, look closely, and see life carved in terracotta. See biology made architecture, see science made beautiful. In the evening, when the crowds leave, when the doors close, the museum's central hall falls into a deep silence, a profound quiet. The marble floors, the high ceiling, the space itself creates hush, and in this silence stands a giant bronze statue, Charles Darwin, seated, contemplating, the father of evolution, the man who changed how we understand ourselves, our origins, our place in nature. He sits in the hall, watching, presiding, a bronze reminder that understanding requires observation, requires thought, requires the courage to question what everyone assumes to be true. Sherlock Holmes, the detective, the character who became more real than reality. He lived, according to the stories, at 221B Baker Street. This address didn't exist when Conan Doyle wrote the stories. It was fictional, imaginary, but such is Holmes's cultural power. Such is the public's love for this character that now the house exists, is a museum kept exactly as described in the books. The sitting room, the chemistry equipment, the violin, Mrs. Hudson's rooms below, everything maintained, preserved, made real. Fiction becoming fact through collective belief, through cultural will, through the insistence that this detective, this impossible genius, this Victorian crime solver must have somewhere to live, must have existed, must be more than words on a page. Sir Isaac Newton, the scientist, the genius who explained gravity, who invented calculus, who understood light and motion and the mathematics underlying reality. He once lived in London, later in life, after his Cambridge years, after his great discoveries, and he served as the master of the Royal Mint, responsible for the nation's currency, for making coins, for preventing counterfeiting. And Newton took this seriously, chased down counterfeiters personally, investigated, built cases, sent people to the gallows for debasing the currency. The same mind that understood planetary motion applied itself to criminal investigation, to forensic accounting, to protecting the integrity of money. Genius applied to practical problems, theory meeting practice, science serving state. Charles Dickens, the novelist, the observer of London life, the chronicler of the city's highs and lows, its wealth and poverty, its comedy and tragedy. Dickens walked miles through the London night, walked for hours, through neighborhoods, through streets, through alleys, watching, listening, absorbing, finding inspiration for his atmospheric novels, for his vivid characters, for his detailed descriptions, the fog, the cold, the crowds, the lonely, the desperate, all observed on these walks, all carried home, all transformed into fiction that captured truth, that showed London to itself, that made the city understand its own character, its own contradictions. Dickens walked until exhausted, until his mind was full, until the city had given him what he needed. And then he wrote, turned walking into words, observation into art, the British Museum. This institution, this collection, this gathering of human achievement from across the globe, was the first national public museum in the world. The first. Before this, collections were private, belonged to nobles, to wealthy collectors, were hidden behind gates, behind walls, available only to the privileged. But the British Museum said, no, this belongs to everyone. Entry granted to studious and curious persons, to anyone wanting to learn, wanting to see, wanting to understand. Democracy of knowledge, equality of access, the idea that culture, that history, that beauty belong to all, not just to the few. The museum's reading room was legendary, a circular room topped with a high blue dome, filled with books, with desks, with silence, a space for quiet contemplation, for study, for thought. Writers came here, thinkers, scholars, Karl Marx. Research Des Capitale here. Virginia Woolf read here, countless others. The room fostered concentration, fostered depth, the blue dome overhead, the books surrounding, the silence protecting, creating perfect conditions for intellectual work, for wrestling with ideas, for discovering connections, for creating new knowledge from old sources. This was London as the Athens of the North, London as intellectual capital, as gathering place for minds, for ideas, for advancement of understanding. The museums, the libraries, the clubs, the institutions, all working together, all creating atmosphere, all saying, think here, learn here, create here. This is a city that values knowledge, that respects inquiry, that rewards curiosity. The royal palaces represent power. The museums represent knowledge. Together they create London's dual character, governing and thinking, commanding and understanding, power tempered by knowledge, authority informed by inquiry. Walk through royal London, through Mayfair's quiet streets, past the clubs of Pall Mall, into the museums, under the dome of the reading room. Stand before Darwin's statue, sit in a leather chair, listen to the silence, feel the weight of tradition, the accumulation of knowledge, the careful preservation of beauty. This is London being serious, being dignified, being grand, not in a showy way, not loudly, but with quiet assurance, with understated elegance, with the confidence of a city that knows its worth, that doesn't need to shout, that can whisper and still be heard. The royal standard flies when the king is home. The guards change with perfect precision. The abbey waits for the next coronation. Big Ben marks the hours. Parliament's light burns late. The pelicans swim in St. James's Park. The museums hold their treasures in silent reverence. The reading room dome arches overhead. Darwin sits in the bronze contemplation. Newton's ghost chases counterfeiters. Dickens's spirit walks the night streets. Holmes solves impossible cases from his Baker Street rooms. And London continues, being itself, being royal and intellectual, being powerful and thoughtful, being ceremonial and curious, being the city where palaces and museums coexist, where power and knowledge inform each other, where tradition and inquiry dance their careful dance, where 775 rooms contain a working monarchy, where red carpets roll down entire streets, where libraries hush scholars, where nature is carved in terracotta, where fictional detectives have real addresses. This is London in its fullness, in its complexity, royal but accessible, grand but welcoming, ancient but thinking, traditional but questioning, a city of contradictions that somehow make sense, that somehow work, that somehow create something greater than the sum of their parts. The palaces wouldn't mean as much without the museums. The ceremony wouldn't resonate without the inquiry. The crown wouldn't shine without the mind. Together they create the complete picture, the full portrait, the real London. And we rest here. Having walked among royalty and thinkers, having stood in palaces and libraries, having watched guards march and scholars read, having seen power performed and knowledge pursued, this is the second layer of London, built on Roman foundations, crowned with royal grandeur, illuminated by intellectual light, the city growing, deepening, becoming more itself with each passing century, each new building, each new institution, each new tradition added to the old. London sleeps under the royal standard, under the blue dome, under the museum roofs, under the careful watch of bronze Darwin, under the gaslight that Dickens walked by, under the protection of walls and ravens and tradition. The Thames flows, the lost rivers flow beneath, the Roman stones stand, the palaces glow, the museums wait, and everything continues, endures, persists. Because London knows how to last, knows how to honor the past while embracing the present, knows how to be old and new simultaneously, knows how to be itself completely. Now we descend from palaces and museums, from grand institutions and royal ceremonies. We come down to street level, to the daily rhythms of London life, to the small rituals that make a city livable, to tea and theatres, to pubs and markets, to the sensory pleasures that have sustained Londoners for generations. This is London tasted, London heard, London felt, London lived. Afternoon tea, perhaps the most British of all traditions, the most quintessentially English of customs. But it's not ancient, not medieval, not even particularly old. Afternoon tea was popularized in the 1840s by Anna, the Duchess of Bedford. She had a problem, a very civilized problem. The gap between lunch and dinner was long, too long. Lunch around noon, dinner not until 8 or 9 in the evening. Hours and hours. And she grew hungry, felt faint, needed something to sustain her through the afternoon. So she began asking for tea and light refreshments to be brought to her private chambers in the Architect's afternoon. Tea, sandwiches, small cakes, nothing elaborate, just enough to bridge the gap, to provide sustenance, to make the long afternoon bearable. And this private indulgence became a social event. She began inviting friends to join her. The practice spread, became fashionable, became expected, became tradition. And now afternoon tea is synonymous with Britain, with elegance, with a particular way of being civilized, all because one duchess got hungry in the afternoon. The perfect cup of British tea is traditionally brewed for exactly 3 to 5 minutes. Not 2, not 10, 3 to 5. This allows the flavors to deepen, to develop complexity, to reach their full potential. Too short and the tea is weak, tasteless, disappointing. Too long and it becomes bitter, astringent, unpleasant. But 3 to 5 minutes, this is the sweet spot, the perfect balance, the moment when tea becomes itself completely. Londoners know this, know the timing, know the ritual. Boilings, water, warming the pot, adding tea, pouring water, waiting the exact right amount of time, then pouring, adding milk if desired, sugar if preferred. But the tea itself, the tea must be perfect first. Everything else is decoration. London's West End, the theatre district, the heart of British performing arts, home to nearly 40 theatres. 40, each one different, each one with its own character, its own history, its own ghosts probably. Many are over a century old, Victorian, Edwardian, built in an era when theatre was the primary entertainment, when live performance was how stories were told, how emotions were shared, how communities gathered. These theatres are architectural treasures, filled with velvet seats, deep red, plush, comfortable, and gilded balconies, gold leaf catching light, ornate decoration, cherubs and scrollwork and Baroque excess. The theatres themselves are performances, are experiences before the curtain even rises. The longest running play in our world, the longest, is Agatha Christie's The Mousetrap, which has been performed in London continuously since 1952. Over 70 years, over 28,000 performances, generation after generation of actors, of audience members, of people coming to see this mystery unfold, this whodunit, this perfectly constructed puzzle. The show has never stopped, never closed, never gone dark. Through decades of change, through cultural shifts, through everything, the Mousetrap continues, a testament to Christie's craft, to the enduring appeal of a good mystery, to London's love of tradition, of continuity, of things that last. The Old Cheshire Cheese, one of London's oldest pubs, rebuilt after the Great Fire of 1666. So it's been standing for over 350 years, 3.5 centuries of serving drinks, of hosting conversations, of providing refuge from the rain. The pub's dark, wood-panelled rooms have a particular quality, a warmth, a coziness, low ceilings, small windows, dark wood absorbing light, creating intimate spaces, spaces where conversation happens naturally, where strangers become friends, where the outside world fades away. This pub has hosted writers. Charles Dickens drank here. Mark Twain visited when in London. Dr. Johnson probably stopped by. Voltaire, possibly. These dark rooms heard their conversations, their jokes, their arguments, their ideas. The wood absorbed their voices. The floor bore their footsteps. The pub witnessed their presence. And now tourists come to sit where Dickens sat, to drink where Twain drank, to connect to literary history through the simple act of having a pint in an old pub, the space becoming a bridge between then and now, between the famous dead and the living anonymous, between literary history and personal experience. Fish and chips, the quintessential British meal, the dish that defines British fast food, became a London staple in the 1860s. The combination is perfect. Fried fish, usually cod or haddock, battered and deep fried until golden and crispy, and chips, what Americans call French fries, but thick cut, substantial, fried until golden outside and fluffy inside. Originally, this meal was served in old newspaper, wrapped in pages from yesterday's news. The newspaper kept the heat in, absorbed excess oil, and could be thrown away after eating. You'd unwrap your fish and chips, the smell rising, the heat warming your hands, reading bits of news while eating, grease staining the paper, salt and vinegar soaking through. A complete sensory experience. Pie and mash shops in the East End, working class institutions, still serving traditional food, minced beef pies, the pastry golden and flaky, the meat filling rich and savory, served with mashed potatoes, creamy, smooth, and covered with liquor, not alcohol, but a bright green parsley sauce, vibrant green, made from parsley and eel stock traditionally. Though many shops now use vegetable stock, the sauce is thin, poured over everything, the green bright against the brown and white. These shops are simple. Formica tables, tiled walls. No pretension, no decoration, just good food. Served quickly, eaten efficiently. Working people's food, honest food, food that sustains. Borough Market. This market has existed in some form for 1,000 years. 1,000. Since medieval times, since London was much smaller, since the bridge was the only crossing. The market has always been here, always serving, always providing. Now it's covered by an iron roof, Victorian ironwork, elegant, functional. And under this roof, the market echoes with the quiet chatter of food lovers, vendors calling out, customers asking questions, the rustle of paper bags, the clink of change. The market is a sensory explosion. Smells of bread baking, of cheese aging, of coffee roasting, of fruit ripening. Colours of vegetables piled high, of meats hanging, of fish on ice. Sounds of knives cutting, of conversations flowing, of life happening. The market is alive, always moving, always changing, always the same. The black cab drivers, London's famous taxi drivers, in their distinctive black vehicles. These drivers must pass something extraordinary, something uniquely demanding. The knowledge. This is a test, a qualification, an ordeal. It requires them to memorize 25,000 streets, 25,000 and 20,000 landmarks. Every street in central London, every route, every shortcut, every one-way system, all committed to memory. No GPS, no navigation system, just knowledge, pure, complete, total. It can take 3 to 4 years of study to master the knowledge. 3 to 4 years of riding around on a scooter in the early morning hours, before traffic builds, when streets are empty, when you can concentrate, riding with a clipboard mounted on the handlebars, following routes, memorizing, testing yourself, calling out, and turns, left here, right there, straight on, over and over, day after day, month after month, year after year, until the city is inside you, until you know every street instinctively, until you can navigate blindfolded. Only then do you qualify. Only then can you drive a black cab. This knowledge, this mastery, is part of what makes London taxis special, makes them reliable, makes them worth the premium price. London's red double-decker buses, iconic, instantly recognizable, the symbol of London transport. But they weren't always red. Originally, different colors represented different routes. Blue for one route, green for another, yellow for a third. A rainbow of buses, each color telling you where it was going. But in 1907, red became the standard. Universal red, London red, and the double-decker became the red bus, the symbol, the icon, the thing tourists photograph, the thing Londoners depend on, the bus that's higher than it should be. That provides views from the upper deck. That sways gently around corners. That climbs hills surprisingly well. That has become inseparable from the city itself. Covent Garden, once a fruit and vegetable market, a wholesale market, where produce came from the countryside, where it was bought by shopkeepers and restaurateurs. Early morning business, the smell of earth and green things, the sound of crates being unloaded, of produce being sorted, of deals being made. But the market moved out, relocated to a bigger site, and Covent Garden transformed, became a hub for shopping, for dining, for entertainment, for street performers. Street performers must audition for a pitch in Covent Garden, must try out, prove they're good enough, interesting enough, safe enough. Each pitch, each performance spot is allocated, scheduled, controlled. The performers are talented, jugglers, musicians, magicians, living statues, acrobats. They perform. Crowds gather, form circles, watch, applaud, drop coins in hats. The performers make the space come alive, make it special, make it more than just a shopping area. They provide the magic, the unexpected, the moment of wonder in an ordinary day. The 7 Dials pillar in Covent Garden, this monument, this column, features 6 sundials, not 7, 6. Seems like a mistake, like someone miscounted. But no, the pillar itself acts as the 7th dial, the 7th shadow, the 7th way of marking time. 6 dials on the pillar, and the pillar's own shadow on the ground. Making 7 clever, elegant, a puzzle solved by understanding, by looking carefully, by noticing that sometimes the answer is right there, hidden in plain sight. Liberty London, This department store. This building is extraordinary. Built from the timbers of two 19th century Navy ships, actual ships, wooden sailing vessels, decommissioned, dismantled. Their timbers, their oak beams, used to construct this building, giving it a Tudor feel, a nautical feel, half-timbered. Construction, dark wood against white plaster, like an Elizabethan manor house. But in the middle of modern London, the store sells luxury goods, fabric, clothing, gifts. But the building itself is the real treasure. Walking inside is like entering a ship, or a manor, or both. The wood creaks slightly, the floors slope subtly, the beams overhead feel alive, feel connected to the sea, to history, to craft. Carnaby Street. In the 1960s, this became the heart of swinging London. Youth culture, fashion, music, the Beatles and the Stones, Mary Quant and Bieber, a colourful contrast to the city's grey stone, to its traditional architecture, to its conservative appearance. Carnaby Street was rebellion, was youth, was colour and energy and new. Boutiques selling clothes that shocked parents, record shops blasting new sounds, cafes full of artists and musicians and models. The street became famous worldwide, became synonymous with a cultural moment, with a generation finding its voice, finding its style, finding its freedom. The buildings themselves haven't changed much, but for a while, for a glorious while, Carnaby Street was the centre of the cultural universe. Harrods, the department store, the shopping palace, in Knightsbridge. This building features a stunning Egyptian-themed escalator hall. Why Egyptian? Because the owner, Mohammed Al-Fayed, wanted to honour his heritage, wanted to create something spectacular, something memorable. The escalators are surrounded by Egyptian imagery, hieroglyphics, sphinxes, scarab beetles, gold and black and rich colours. Riding these escalators feels like entering a pharaoh's tomb, like shopping in a pyramid. It's excessive, gorgeous, unforgettable. Every night, Harrods is illuminated by 12,000 light bulbs. 12,000. The building glows, shines, becomes a beacon, a golden palace. The lights outline the building's architecture, highlight its features, make it visible from blocks away. In winter, especially, when darkness falls early, Harrods glows like a jewel, like a promise, like a statement that beauty and luxury exist, that they're attainable, that they're waiting just inside these glowing walls. Savile Row. This street is the world centre of bespoke tailoring, custom suits, made by hand, made to measure, made perfectly, in quiet basement workshops. Tailors working with scissors and chalk and pins, measuring, cutting, fitting, adjusting, creating garments that fit like they're part of you, that move with you, that enhance, that last for decades if cared for properly. Savile Row suits are expensive, very expensive, but they're investments, heirlooms, pieces of wearable art. The tailors here trained for years, learned their craft through apprenticeship, through doing, through thousands of hours of cutting and sewing. They know fabric, know bodies, know how to create the perfect fit, the perfect drape, the perfect suit. English breakfast tea. The blend everyone associates with Britain, with morning, with starting the day properly. But here's a secret. It isn't actually from England. The blend was originally created in Edinburgh, or possibly New York, depending on which history you believe. An Englishman didn't create English breakfast tea. The irony is delicious. But Britain adopted it, made it theirs, made it essential, made it the tea served in hotels and homes and cafes across the nation. The origin doesn't matter now. What matters is the present, the fact that this tea has become British through usage, through preference, through cultural adoption. The post office railway, also called mail rail. This is a hidden underground train system. Most Londoners don't even know it exists. Narrow gauge, automated, running through tunnels beneath the city. This railway was used solely to move letters across the city, silently, efficiently, underground. Mail would be loaded onto small train cars. The trains would depart, running on tracks through darkness, delivering mail from one sorting office to another. No drivers, no passengers, just letters and parcels moving through London's underground. The system operated from 1927 to 2003. 76 years of silent mail delivery. Now it's closed, the tunnels dark, the tracks still, but tours are offered. You can ride the old mail trains. Experience this secret London, this hidden infrastructure that kept the postal service running smoothly for generations. Soho, now a district known for entertainment, for theatres and restaurants and nightlife. But once it was a royal hunting ground, a place where kings and courtiers hunted deer and wild boar. The name Soho was actually a hunting cry, used in the 1600s, called out when spotting prey. Soho! The cry that began a chase. That signaled excitement. That meant the hunt was on. And somehow, this hunting cry became the name of a neighbourhood, became shorthand for a particular type of London. Energy, for nightlife, for entertainment, for places that stay open late, for streets that come alive after dark. The Electric Cinema in Portobello Road, one of the oldest working cinemas in the country, still showing films, still hosting audiences, but with a twist, with comfort. The cinema features leather armchairs, deep, soft, comfortable, and footstools. You don't sit in regular movie seats. You recline, you sprawl, you make yourself at home. Some screenings even offer blankets, wine, cocktails delivered to your seat. This is cinema as luxury, as experience, as something more than just watching a movie. It's an event, a treat, a way of honoring the films being shown, of saying that movies deserve comfort, deserve attention, deserve to be experienced properly. Pearly kings and queens. This is a London tradition. Working class royalty, charity fundraisers, people who wear suits covered in thousands of mother-of-pearl buttons. Thousands. Covering jackets and trousers and dresses, sewn on by hand, creating patterns, creating shimmer, creating spectacle. The tradition started in the 1800s with costermongers, street sellers who decorated their clothes with pearl buttons as a way of standing out, of showing status within their community. The tradition evolved, became organized, became charitable. Now pearly kings and queens raise money for good causes, wear their elaborate button-covered suits with pride, represent London's working class heritage, its sense of community, its generosity. London has over 3,500 pubs, 3,500, each with a name. And these names often tell a story, tell local history, reference folklore. The Red Lion, the White Hart, the Rose and Crown, animals, flowers, royal symbols, the lamb and flag, the George and dragon, the coach and horses, each name chosen for a reason, sometimes obvious, sometimes mysterious, sometimes lost to time, but the names persist, become landmarks, become meeting points. I'll see you at the Swan. Let's go to the Prince of Wales, The pubs are more than just places to drink. They're institutions, community centres, living rooms for neighbourhoods, places where regulars know each other, where strangers can become friends, where London's social life happens. As the West End theatre lights dim, as evening performances begin, as curtains rise and audiences hush, the city's neon signs reflect in the rain-slicked pavement of Piccadilly Circus. This is London at its most cinematic, its most atmospheric. The lights, the reflection, the rain, creating pools of colour on black stone. Red, blue, green, yellow, all multiplied in wet surfaces. People hurrying past, umbrellas up, reflections fragmenting, reforming. The circus, the roundabout, the meeting point, becomes abstract, becomes art, becomes more beautiful than it should be. The rain transforms, makes the ordinary extraordinary, makes the commercial poetic, makes London glow. This is daily London, living London. The London of tea and pubs and markets and theatres, of buses and taxis and street performers, of tailors and pearl kings and neon lights. This is the city experienced through the senses, tasted in fish and chips, smelled in Borough Market, heard in theatre audiences applauding, seen in Harrods lighting up, felt in leather cinema seats. This is London lived, not visited, not observed from distance, but inhabited, used, loved. The routines matter. The afternoon tea at 3, the pub after work, the theatre on Friday, the market on Saturday. These rhythms create stability, create community, create the sense that London isn't just a city but a way of life, a pattern of behaviours, a set of expectations. You know what to do in London. You know where to go. You know how things work. The black cab driver knows every street. The pub keeps your usual drink ready. The market vendor remembers you. The theatre seat feels familiar. London becomes yours through repetition, through ritual, through doing the same things in the same places until they become part of you. And at night, when the theatre's empty, when the pubs close, when the last buses run, when the neon signs finally go dark, London's sensory richness settles, becomes memory, becomes anticipation. The taste of tea lingers, the sound of applause echoes, the sight of lights on wet pavement glows in mind's eye. The feeling of velvet theatre seats remains in muscle memory. London has been experienced, has been tasted, has been heard, has been felt, and will be again. Tomorrow, next week, next year. Because these pleasures don't fade, these traditions don't end, these rituals continue. London continues, offering itself, providing, sustaining, being itself completely. The double-decker buses sleep in garages. The black cabs rest between shifts. The theatres go dark until tomorrow's matinee. The pubs close their doors. The markets pack up their stalls. But they'll return. They'll open again. They'll serve again. They'll provide again. Because this is what London does. Provides daily pleasures, creates rituals, offers comfort, makes life livable through small luxuries, through affordable indulgences, through experiences that enrich, that connect, that make the city more than just buildings and streets, that make it home. Transition naturally to the final segment. We continue forward, deeper into London's story. But for now, rest with these images. The dark Thames reflecting light, the walls standing silent, the ravens watching, the rivers flowing beneath. Let London's ancient foundations cradle you. Let its waters soothe you. Let its stones support you. Rest in the knowledge that some things endure, that walls can stand 2,000 years, that rivers flow forever. that cities built on solid foundations, on Roman stone and Thames water, on history and memory, cannot fall, can only grow, can only deepen, can only become more themselves. With each passing century, now we descend once more, down beneath the streets, into the arteries of London, into the system that moves millions, into the tunnels that define modern London as much as the Thames defines ancient London. And then we rise again, higher than ever before, into the glass towers, into the future skyline, into London becoming tomorrow while honouring yesterday. This is our final journey, through electricity and engineering, through innovation and infrastructure, through the living, breathing pulse of a city that never stops evolving. The London Underground, known universally as the Tube, this network, this system, this marvel of Victorian engineering was the world's first underground passenger railway. The first, opening in 1863. Think about that date. Before cars, before airplanes, before electric lights were common, before telephones, the Victorians, those extraordinary engineers, those bold visionaries, decided to dig tunnels beneath their city, to run trains underground, to move people through the earth itself. It seemed impossible, seemed dangerous, seemed mad, but they did it anyway, and created something that would define urban transportation forever. The Tube isn't actually all underground. This surprises people. More than half of the network is actually on the surface, above ground, in open air. The trains emerge from tunnels, climb to elevated tracks, run through neighborhoods, past gardens, through stations with sky visible overhead. Only the central sections, the oldest sections, remain buried. The name Tube stuck anyway, because those deep tunnels, those circular bores through London clay, those are what make the system special, make it unique, make it the Tube rather than just another railway. The iconic underground map was designed in 1931 by Harry Beck, an engineering draftsman, not a cartographer, not a designer, but an engineer who looked at the problem differently. The existing maps tried to show actual geography, actual distances, actual locations, but they were confusing, hard to read, hard to use. Beck had a different idea. He based his map on an electrical circuit diagram, straight lines, 45-degree angles, 90-degree angles. No curves, no attempt at geographic accuracy, just clarity, just showing what connects to what line goes where. Simple, elegant, brilliant. This map revolutionized transit mapping worldwide. Cities everywhere copied it, because it works, because it turns complexity into simplicity, because it tells you what you need to know and nothing you don't. The map doesn't show that some stations are much closer together than others, doesn't show the actual route of the tunnels, doesn't show real distances, but it shows the system, shows how to navigate, shows how to get from here to there. And that's what matters. Beck's genius was understanding this, understanding that sometimes less information is more helpful, that abstraction can be clearer than reality. There are over 40 ghost stations beneath London, abandoned platforms, unused tunnels, stations that opened, served for a while, then closed. Some because they weren't used enough, some because they were made redundant by other stations, some because of damage in the wall. These ghost stations sit silent beneath the busy streets, platforms where no one waits, ticket halls where no one passes, tunnels where trains rush by without stopping. Sometimes tube passengers can glimpse these stations, can see the tiled walls, the old signs, the empty platforms, appearing briefly in the darkness, then gone, like memories, like ghosts, like traces of what was. The Shard, London's tallest building, rising 310 meters, over 1,000 feet, designed by Renzo Piano, an Italian architect who wanted to create something that looked like a jagged piece of glass, piercing the clouds, breaking the sky. The building tapers, narrows as it rises, creating a pyramid, but not solid, not opaque, transparent, made of glass. 11,000 panes of glass, each one precisely cut, precisely positioned, creating a surface that reflects, that shimmers, that seems to dematerialize. The Shard doesn't impose itself on the skyline, doesn't dominate. Instead, it dances, catches light, disappears in clouds, reappears in sunshine, changes constantly. A building that's never quite the same twice. These 11,000 glass panes need cleaning, regularly, thoroughly. This requires specialist Spider-Man climbers, professionals who abseil down the building, roped, harnessed, suspended hundreds of feet in the air, moving across glass, cleaning, polishing, making the Shard shine. The work is dangerous, requires training, requires courage, requires absolute trust in equipment. These climbers become part of the building, part of its maintenance, part of its life. They see London from perspectives most people never will. Hanging in air, looking down on the city, touching the building that touches the sky. The London Eye, that giant wheel on the South Bank. Technically, it's a giant cantilevered observation wheel, not a Ferris wheel. The difference matters. A Ferris wheel is supported on both sides, balanced, symmetrical, but the London Eye is supported on only one side, cantilevered, projecting outward, defying gravity through engineering. The wheel leans over the Thames, reaches over the water, creates its distinctive profile, its unique silhouette. This design was chosen deliberately to maximize views, to minimize interference, to create something unprecedented. One full rotation of the London Eye takes 30 minutes. 30. Not fast, not thrilling. Slow, gentle. Moving so slowly you barely feel the motion. You board a capsule, a glass pod, step inside. The door closes and you begin to rise. Barely perceptible, just a slow, steady ascent. London spreading beneath you. The Thames winding. The buildings shrinking. The parks revealing their shapes. The city making sense from height. You reach the top, 135 meters up. The capsule hanging in air. Time feeling suspended. Space feeling infinite. Then the slow descent. Back to Earth. Back to the city. Back to being part of the crowd rather than above it. The Gherkin. That distinctive building. That bullet-shaped tower. Officially, 30 St. Mary Axe. But everyone calls it the Gherkin because it looks like a gherkin. A pickle. Rounded. Tapering. Greenish glass. The building uses a unique spiral design. Not just aesthetic, but functional. The spiral allows air to circulate naturally, reduces need for air conditioning, creates pockets where wind can pass through. The building uses 50% less energy than a typical office building. 50%. Half. This is architecture solving problems. Meeting aesthetic goals and environmental goals simultaneously. Making beauty practical. Making sustainability elegant. The walkie-talkie building. 20 Fenchurch Street. This building is distinctive too. bulges outward as it rises, creates a top-heavy appearance. Some people love it, some people hate it. But at the top, at the 35th floor, sits something special. The Sky Garden, a public park, free to visit, located 700 feet above the ground. This garden is filled with Mediterranean and South African plants. Plants that thrive in sunlight, that need warmth. That wouldn't normally grow in London. But up here, protected by glass, bathed in sun, they flourish. Olive trees, proteas, succulents, grasses, creating a forest in the sky, a garden above the clouds, a pocket of nature suspended above urban chaos. The Millennium Bridge, the pedestrian bridge, the wobbly bridge. This bridge is a lateral suspension bridge, sleek, modern, minimal, designed by Norman Foster and Anthony Caro. When it opened in the year 2000, it swayed, wobbled, moved side to side as people walked across. The movement frightened people, made them uncomfortable. The bridge had to be closed. Engineers studied the problem, discovered that the bridge's natural frequency matched the frequency of people walking. When many people walked in step, even unconsciously, the bridge resonated, amplified, moved. To fix the wobble, engineers fitted 37 fluid dampers beneath the deck, like giant shock absorbers. These dampers absorb movement, dissipate energy, prevent resonance. Now the bridge is stable, solid, safe. You can walk across without wobbling. The fix worked. The bridge reopened, and now it's one of London's favourite crossings, connecting St. Paul's Cathedral to Tate Modern, connecting history to contemporary art, connecting north to south, connecting beautifully. Canary Wharf. This area was once one of the busiest docks in the world. Ships from everywhere, bringing goods, bringing wealth. The docks teemed with activity, with workers loading and unloading, with cranes lifting, with cargo stacked. But shipping changed. Containers got bigger, ships got larger. The docks became too small, too outdated. They closed, fell silent, became derelict, and then transformation. Canary Wharf was reimagined, rebuilt, became a high-tech financial forest of steel and glass, skyscrapers rising where ships once docked, banks where warehouses stood, a completely new skyline, a new purpose. The water remains, the docks remain, but everything else changed, evolved, became tomorrow. The Docklands Light Railway, the DLR. This system serves Canary Wharf and the surrounding areas. It's fully automated, driverless. No one in the front cabin, just empty seats, empty controls. The trains navigate themselves, following tracks, obeying signals, stopping at stations, all without human control. You can sit in the very front, look out the front window, pretend you're driving. Watch the tracks appear beneath you. Watch the system navigate itself. The DLR weaves between the skyscrapers, rises on elevated tracks, dips into short tunnels, creates journeys that feel futuristic, that feel like science fiction. Automated trains serve in a reimagined waterfront, the Thames barrier. This engineering marvel sits downstream, where the river widens, where it meets the sea. The barrier consists of 10 massive steel gates, enormous, industrial, beautiful in their brutality. These gates normally rest on the riverbed, open, allowing ships to pass, allowing the tide to flow. But when storm surges threaten, when the North Sea pushes water upstream, when flooding becomes dangerous, the gates rotate, rise from the water, create a wall, a barrier, protecting London. These gates are as tall as a 5-story building, massive, heavy, powerful. They're tested once a month, slowly rising from the water, a mechanical dance, a demonstration of power, a reminder that London must be protected, that the Thames gives life, but can also take it. That engineering stands guard. Crossrail, now known as the Elizabeth Line. This project involved digging 26 miles of new tunnels under London, through London clay, through history, through archaeology. The digging uncovered thousands of artifacts, Roman pottery, medieval coins, Victorian bottles, plague pits, ancient settlements. Every meter revealed history, every tunnel told stories, the past and future meeting underground. Engineers had to be archaeologists, had to stop, to record, to preserve, before continuing, before boring deeper, before creating tomorrow's infrastructure through yesterday's remains. The digging used giant boring machines, tunnel boring machines, TBMs, enormous, mechanical, named after famous women, Mary, Sophia, Elizabeth, Victoria. These machines are as tall as buildings, as long as football fields. They rotate, grinding through clay, through earth, through anything in their way, cutting circular tunnels, precise, perfect. The machines move slowly, meters per day, not fast, but unstoppable, patient, methodical, chewing through the London clay, creating space, creating possibility, creating the tunnels that would become the Elizabeth Line, King's Cross Station, a major transport hub, Victorian, grand, functional, but famous now for something fictional, for platform 9 3/4, the platform in the Harry Potter books, where wizards catch the Hogwarts Express. This platform doesn't exist, can't exist, but fans wanted it anyway, wanted to find it, wanted to photograph it. So the station obliged, created a tribute, a luggage trolley permanently embedded in a brick wall, half disappeared, as if pushing through to the magical platform beyond. Fans queue to photograph themselves pushing the trolley, pretending to pass through, making fiction real through belief, through participation, through refusing to let magic remain only on pages. St. Pancras International, right next to King's Cross, but different. Victorian Gothic, magnificent. Red brick, pointed arches, soaring spaces, decorative excess. This station was famously saved from demolition in the 1960s, when modernism wanted to tear down the old, replace it with concrete and glass, replace ornament with function. But people fought back, preserved the station, recognized its value, its beauty, its irreplaceability, and now it stands, renovated, serving high-speed trains to Europe, to Paris, to Brussels. The Victorian Gothic serving the ultra-modern, history enabling the future. The station features the longest champagne bar in Europe, stretching 315 feet along the platform. The longest. You can drink champagne while waiting for your train, can celebrate travel, can toast departure, can make the ordinary extraordinary. The bar is elegant, modern within Victorian space, serving celebration, serving luxury, serving the idea that travel should be special, should be memorable, should be more than just getting from here to there. London is one of the greenest cities of its size, with over 8 million trees. 8 million, nearly one for every person. 1 tree per Londoner. These trees line streets, fill parks, grow in gardens, provide shade, provide oxygen, provide home for birds and insects, provide connection to nature. The trees make London breathable, make it livable, make it more than just concrete and steel. They remind everyone that nature persists, that green survives, that life continues even in cities, even in density, even surrounded by buildings. The city is home to 8 royal parks: Hyde Park, Regent's Park, St James's Park, Green Park, Richmond Park, Bushy Park, Greenwich Park, Kensington Gardens. These act as the lungs of London, providing vast spaces of silence and nature, spaces where traffic noise fades, where you can hear birds, where grass grows, where trees spread, where the city pauses. These parks aren't afterthoughts, aren't accidents. They're deliberate, preserved, protected, royal but public, belonging to the crown but accessible to everyone. Spaces of democracy, of equality, of shared beauty. As the city breathes, as it inhales and exhales, as it pulses with electricity and trains and people, the modern lights of the City of London glow beside the ancient stones. The Shard rises near the tower. The Gherkin stands where Romans walked. The underground tunnels burrow beneath medieval streets. Glass towers reflect Norman churches. The future and past exist simultaneously, touch each other, inform each other, create each other. This is London's gift, its character, its essence. The refusal to choose between old and new, the insistence on both, on all, on everything at once. The tube trains run beneath Roman walls. The DLR glides past old docks. The Thames barrier protects the city that grew from a ford. The Elizabeth Line tunnels discovered what London was building on top of. The modern skyline punctures clouds while Gothic spires reach upward from below. Everything coexists, everything matters, everything contributes. London is complete in its contradictions, ancient and modern, royal and democratic, reserved and vibrant, traditional and innovative, green and urban, underground and skyward. The city contains multitudes, contains centuries, contains possibilities. You can stand on a Roman wall while looking at the Shard, can ride automated trains through Victorian tunnels, can drink champagne in a Gothic station while waiting for a high-speed train, can walk through 8-million-year-old clay to board a driverless railway, can touch 2,000 years of history in one afternoon. This is London's final lesson, its ultimate truth. That time is not linear here, that past and future exist together. That innovation doesn't require destroying what came before, that you can build glass towers without tearing down stone churches, that you can dig modern tunnels while preserving ancient artifacts, that you can be the world's first underground while still running steam trains for heritage, that you can be everything, all at once, completely. The city settles into night. The Shard's lights glow against darkness. The London Eye rotates slowly, endlessly. The tube trains run through their tunnels. The Thames barrier rests beneath the river. The ghost stations sit empty. The trees breathe quietly. The parks hold their silence. The black cabs find their way home. The double-deckers park in rows. The theatres go dark. The pubs lock their doors. The ravens settle in the tower. The beefeaters complete the ceremony of the keys. Big Ben chimes the hours, and London sleeps. Not completely. Never completely. The city that never stops. The city that runs 24 hours. But it quiets. It slows. It takes a breath. The millions go home. The tourists return to hotels. The workers finish their shifts. The streets empty enough to see cobblestones, to hear footsteps, to notice the silence beneath the noise. The Thames flows, as it always has, as it always will. Dark water under bridge after bridge after bridge. reflecting light, carrying tide, breathing in and out with the moon's pull. The lost rivers flow beneath, the Tyburn, the Fleet, the Walbrook, hidden but present, moving through darkness, through secret channels, through the clay that holds everything. The Roman wall stands in fragments, 2,000 years old, still here, still witnessed, still touched by hands reaching across time. The stones know everything, know everyone who passed, everyone who built, everyone who lived, everyone who died. The stones remember even when we forget. This has been our journey, through London, through time, through layers of history and modernity, from Londinium to the Shard, from Roman roads to the Elizabeth line, from fortresses to glass towers, from oil lamps to LED lights, from horse-drawn to automated, from past to present to future, all existing, all real, all London. We walked Roman streets and rode driverless, semi trains. We touched ancient walls and looked up at modern glass. We tasted tea and fish and chips. We heard theatre applause and tube trains rumbling. We saw the Thames flow and the London Eye turn. We felt velvet seats and leather armchairs. We smelled Borough Market and new paint on the Shard. We experienced London through every sense, through every era, through every possibility. And now, as our journey ends, as we prepare to rest, imagine London settling around you. Protective, ancient, modern, constant, changing. The city that has survived everything. Fire, plague, war, bombing, poverty, wealth, everything. And still stands, still grows, still welcomes, still provides, still becomes, still is. Let the image of the Thames at night stay with you. Dark water, reflected light, bridges spanning, history flowing. Let the sound of Big Ben chiming settle into your breathing. Let the sight of the Shard piercing clouds fill your closed eyes. Let the feeling of Roman stone under your fingers ground you. Let the taste of proper tea warm you. Let the memory of theatre lights guide you into dreams. London endures. London provides. London welcomes. London is. And you have walked its streets, touched its stones, ridden its trains, tasted its food, heard its sounds, seen its lights. You have known London, have experienced London, have become part of London's story, part of its endless accumulation of visitors and residents and lovers and critics, all of whom become part of the city, all of whom the city remembers, in stone, in water, in the air itself. Sleep now, sleep deeply, sleep peacefully, knowing that somewhere, right now, the Thames is flowing, the tube is running, the ravens are watching, stones are standing, the city is breathing. London continues, as it always has, as it always will, eternal, changing, constant, complete. From the Sleepy City Travelers Channel, thank you for this journey. Thank you for walking these streets with us. Thank you for discovering, for wondering, for dreaming. May London's stones support your rest. May its waters soothe you. May its history comfort you. May its future inspire you. Good night from London, from the Roman walls, from the royal palaces, from the West End lights, from the modern towers, from the underground tunnels, from the flowing Thames, from every street and every stone and every story. Good night from the city that time built, that the river created, that the people made home. Sleep well in London's embrace. Sleep as the city sleeps, deeply, peacefully, eternally, long silent. The journey is complete. London sleeps under the Royal Standard, under the Blue Dome, under the museum roofs, under the careful watch of Bronze Darwin. under the gaslight that Dickens walked by, under the protection of walls and ravens and tradition. The Thames flows, the lost rivers flow beneath, the Roman stones stand, the palaces glow, the museums wait, and everything continues, endures, persists, because London knows how to last, knows how to honor the past while embracing the present, knows how to be old and new simultaneously, knows how to be itself completely.